Guys, I am apologizing because there will not be a video going up today. I have been fighting with trying to get things edited. I do have stuff ready, but I cannot upload to YouTube. YouTube was down all day yesterday. I tried a couple times. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go back and re-edit. I saved the original versions of the video that was gonna go up today that I couldn't get loaded. But a lot of it has to do, Bradley, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I just have been so incredibly busy that I haven't gotten everything done I wanted done. So yeah, this is going to be the content for today. I apologize. I didn't want to do it this way. I rushed to get a couple videos done. What's up, Luke? I rushed to get a couple videos done. I edited them. I wasn't 100% happy with them, but I was like, oh, I get the videos anyway. So I am going to just tell you, what's up, Luigi? I'm going to tell you guys right now what I'm going to film today. Yeah, life gets in the way again. Well, kid with an injury. I've still got lingering effects from having basically 2 oral surgeries in a week. They had to go back in and take some bone out. But they did put me under for that. So, and then when I get sick, it's so much harder for me to fight it off because I do have a compromised immune system, which is why I'm not working. So this will be your content. So I will tell you a couple things that I've got planned. I have a ton of fixed blade knives that you guys have never got to see. That was what one of the videos was. It didn't come out real great. I did a video about my cold steel SRK. You will see that, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm not going to the shop today. I am going to stay here today. I have stuff that I want to try and get done, HOA stuff. As the vice president of the HOA, we had a break-in. We have to get a new safe and stuff like that for any office. There's some stuff that we need to address for that, so I'm going to do that. But I am going to make a concerted effort to take some time today, shoot the video about the beads for the giveaway, guys. For you guys that are paying members, the beads are here. I just have not figured out how I want to shoot the video because a lot of them glow. So for me to film it the way I want to film it, it's different. So I've tried to do that a couple times. You know why they voted me to the HOA? Because I was against the insanity of doing things the same way every time. We have a lot of plans. It's really hard to do anything though, especially in this lockdown. I'll gather some stuff and send it your way for a little cash on the side. Well, I mean, that's fine. The thing is, with the beads, guys, I haven't gotten everyone's contact info. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna shoot the video as people are sending me knives. So some of you guys, Steve Pickering sent me stuff. Bradley, you sent me some stuff. I did put your bead in with your stuff, right, Bradley? But what I'm saying is, so that is where I'm going. So today, I was gonna go make handles at the shop for a knife I'm working on. I'm gonna be there all day Saturday. Well, no, I mean, I will. I'll send you one. What I was gonna tell you guys is, this is what I've been thinking about. And I had a friend that, another YouTube channel that I talked to, he did this for his Patreons. And what he told him is like, send me a pre-labeled, prepaid package. Like, just send me a package with a label in it, a letter with a label in it. And, Luke, go get your bead. She's got so much stuff that I've given her. There's so much stuff that came in. There's so much stuff that has come in over the last few years of stuff that I've had several people that just gave me boxes of stuff. And in it were things for my daughter. I had a guy that gave my daughter like several 1-ounce silver coins and stuff like that. So she already gets a lot of stuff. There's a lot of times that when stuff comes in and they're like, here, just do whatever you want with it. Such as the stuff that came from Artisan. There was a whole box of stuff that came from Artisan. Most of it's going to be done as giveaways. Like, this month is the RIA. Go find that if you haven't already entered. I'm doing a giveaway of a RIA, an Artisan cutlery RIA. Wow, that light is horrible. The sun is at a different position because now we have a different time frame for sunrise and sunset after. At any rate, so there's stuff that she wants. Homeowners Association. I'm the vice president of the Homeowners Association. So she's gotten so much stuff She has a drawer full of stuff, and she's not going to use it. She's not the knife kid anymore. She's more the girly skater thing. Anyway, so there's no need for her to get that bead, and there's extras. So what I was gonna say is, as people have dropped off, I'm gonna have to just pick whoever we had. We lost another member, and I don't know who it is. I have to change my intro and everything and take their name off. So if you guys are paying members, go and check your status and make sure. I think cards, as cards expire and things like that. But so with that membership, you get free stuff. Yeah, and don't call me Mikey, please, Luke. That's one thing. That is, you can call me pretty much anything you want. Don't call me Mikey. I'm not a big fan of that. So, yeah, I'm gonna get those beads out to everyone. What I'm thinking is everyone that is a paying member that has not already gotten their beads. So I've sent one to Bradley. There's one that's going to go Steve Pickering. So Steve's going to get his because he has knives in here for sharpening. The other thing is, I got to order, I'm waiting on a stone. So if you have a knife here with me, I can't sharpen it right now because I don't have one of my stones that I gotta have it. I have to have that stone. There's no way I can do what people want without that stone. So I am waiting. It's supposed to be here next week. It went in my cart and then it was apparently out of stock, and I'm waiting on that stone. So I wear stones out because, guys, guess what? Even when your stuff's not here to sharpen, I sharpen other stuff. So between that and my daughter's injury and driving all over the place and me being sick, and the wife has got a bad back now, her back is all screwed up, and she has a doctor's appointment here in the next couple days. So here's what happened. So yes, Mike, just call me Mike. So my wife's back, she hurt her back and her shoulder. My daughter hurt her knee. I had the infection and stuff here at in my jaw. So there's all that. I'm in the process of refinancing my house. I have stucco repairs that are going on. I have the HOA that I'm the vice president of, and I'm dealing with figuring out safe and things like that because we had a break-in. And just the general day-to-day stuff, because I still do run a business. It's not booming, but I still do run a business here from home. It's horrible. The only thing that could make it worse was if my daughter had like a room full of Furbies that I had to listen to. And I make that joke because my sister is here, and at one point she had like 3 Furbies, and I'm like, why are there batteries in those things? Because they would sit out on a kitchen counter in the dining room, and my daughter probably would enjoy a Furby, but she had like 3 Furbies. That's the only thing that could make it worse, if I had like a bunch of Furbies that were talking to each other, because I don't know if you know, they do that. So I think my daughter just got up because here comes the dog. Oh, I will show you something funny. Don't mind the trash. Today's trash day, and I'm trying to get the... Kanye, come here. Come here. Look at me. My wife thinks it's hilarious to give the dog eyebrows. She thinks it's hilarious, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I was standing here at this kitchen counter last night making my dinner because at this point, all 3 of us are so busy, we have different dinner times. So my wife and kid ate dinner. I made dinner. And I was here trying to warm up my food, and every time I would look up, the dog was next to my wife at the kitchen table. Right there. So she gets right there, and while my wife is doing her logic puzzles, and every time the dog would turn and look at me, I couldn't look at the dog. I was busting up laughing. Yeah, Booker already has eyebrows. Our dog gets eyebrows probably about once a year. This time they're blue and red. She looks like a clown. And now I have to take that dog out in public and walk her. So basically that's what's been going on in my life. So I'm way too light a sleeper for that, and I sleep with a gun next to the bed. She gave my sister's dog Max. She had this little lemon beagle, and she gave that dog eyebrows. And she does it It's not like she does it with like a Crayola marker. That's permanent marker. That's on there. That's not washing off. Like that dog's gonna have eyebrows on Sunday when I take it over to my friend Matt's house. So no, on top of everything, that's been going on, it's been hectic. And then, like I said, YouTube has not been working right for the last couple of days. I couldn't watch anything yesterday. I think the whole system was down. So that's what the content is going to be. So now that we've got all that out of the way, what are you guys doing? Have I tried rubbing alcohol swabs? Nah, I'm not taking those off. It's funny. It's cute. She wants to let the dog have eyebrows. It's not like she's hurting anything. The dog just has eyebrows, that's all. Wait one, I gotta go get a coffee pot. I bought these because my big coffee pot quit working. Well, I mean, she used to do it to our German Shepherd, so I don't have to imagine. You can ask my sister how incredibly aggressively protective that dog was. I had a dog named Lily. She had been a Japanese police dog, and she got injured, and so they were going to put her down, and my father-in-law got her from the Japanese Police Dog Association and adopted her instead of them putting her down. And I wound up getting the dog because my father-in-law was like, look, I don't have the time and the energy to walk and this dog, and she's so stubborn. And the dog immediately fell in love with me the first time I ever met her. And he's like, that dog likes you. So he was like, I'm just going to give you the dog. Lily was sane. She was just mean. It wasn't that she was mean. She was definitely that protective one family dog. Like no one could come to our house. If we took her somewhere and left her, she was fine as long as me and my wife weren't there. If me and my wife weren't there, she was fine, but she was always on protect mode around me, my wife, and my kid. So we could take her someplace and leave her, and she'd be fine with whoever wanted to play with her. She'd play with other dogs and stuff like that, but the second we were there, she was dangerous. So let me fill that with water. I'm drinking these Cafe Bustelo. Hey, I had a question. During a live feed, is that backwards? While you're watching it now? Because when I watch it back, it's not. I'm just curious if it flips it during the live feed. So that's not backwards? Waiting for one more no. Okay. So, okay, that's cool. Because when I do live feeds, I use the front-facing camera. And then I had another question. Is the audio better now than it used to be? Because this is a brand new phone. My microphone apparently wasn't working. So if I was talking to people and okay. So I was using my phone and I realized that people were like, I can't hear you when you're on speakerphone. So I took it to the Apple store and are like, oh, it could be a software glitch or just maybe reset. We tried everything and they were like, no, your microphone is shot. It's gone. It's done. So they gave me a brand new phone. So you know what? I have had that phone for a while now, and I walked in, they ran one quick test. I was there for like 20 minutes, and they're like, nope, here's a new phone. So people complain about Apple, but people are like, why do you even have an Apple? I can do this. It's so much easier to do YouTube stuff from a phone that is set up for stuff like that. And two, do you know how many free phones I've gotten from Apple? I'm pretty sure that the reason that phone quit working is because it's in my... they're exactly the opposite of Benchmade, in my opinion. They have great customer service. So I have the iPhone SE 2020, which basically is an iPhone 11 inside a iPhone 8 case. And I can honestly say I've never had an iPhone that went bad that was not my fault. Minax. I was thinking about doing another video about this now that I've been carrying this for almost, well, better than a year. I've been carrying this for better than a year. This is one of the prototypes. As a matter of fact, it's still listed as prototypes. Elliot's like, don't buy one. Just keep the prototype you've got. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give you your knife back. I'm gonna just buy one. He was like, don't do that. He's like, just the one you've been testing, just keep it. He's like, it's the same knife. He's like, we didn't change anything. He's like, and I've got plenty of them around here. He's like, I got like 8 protos here. Just keep it. So that's the kind of guy Elliot is. I have a couple of his production prototypes that were just, there you go. Like, I'm done with it. He's like, I don't need it. I've got like other prototypes. Ethan, I'm torn about that. What happens is, like, a company establishes a fan base. So Benchmade, I'm not gonna lie to you, Benchmade was the go-to knife for military guys for a long time. And I'm not gonna lie, they were great. It's my Keurig. So it does sound like a wet fart. So what happened was they built this fan base, and what people, when people get invested and they like a certain product, like I said, I like the iPhone for its functionality. I'm not stuck on a specific brand. They do offer me some of the best customer service, and that's kind of the way Benchmade did it. They were like the best knives around for a while. So what happened was there's a group of people, like military guys and stuff, that were at a period of time, that was the best knife you could. That sounds like a wet fart. They were like the best knife you could get production-wise. And if you wanted something better, you got a custom. And they were really good. But the fact is, as things have progressed and custom knives have reached a point where they're starting to come down. I've seen a lot of custom knives are coming down in quality because these guys realize that to compete with a production company, they've got to produce a lot of knives, and therefore they're cutting corners. So the custom knives are starting to decline in quality. And we've reached a point where we're at that cross where production knives are as good a quality in most cases as a full custom. My Sea Snake, for example. Well, no, let's not go with the sea. Let's go with the Stonefish. Sea Snake, I use a much better steel and stuff like that. But at any rate, my Stonefish, we're at a point where their quality from those production knives is as good as me making them by hand, with some minor exceptions like the steel heat treat. My heat treat is way better in my opinion but they can't mass produce knives with that heat treat. It's a really, 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 really high temperature heat treat. So at any rate, what I was saying is we've reached that point where custom knives are coming down, production knives have come up. So, we've reached a point where you are in a weird thing. Do I spend $700-800 on a custom knife, or do I buy a production knife? So it's a really interesting time. It's a really interesting time that, we can get stuff at price points. And I do know a lot of it is made in China. A lot of people don't want that. So what country makes the best steel? It just depends on what steel you want, Ethan. Everybody asks, well, what's the best steel? Whatever steel you like is the best steel. You know what? The steel type that's in a knife is very rare. Okay, there's a couple things that I don't look at till the end. Do you know how many knives I've got that I have no idea what steel they were when I purchased them? Till they showed up, or till they came in for review. Almost every knife. 20CV is one of my favorite steels, but I like the AR-PM9, which is closer to 440. It's like in between 9CR18 MOV and a Q-toe. It's what my Sea Snake was made in. I really, really like that steel. It's not got a lot of the qualities that this knife has in 20CV. So, it just depends. If you have a knife and you like the steel, then you like the steel. M390, yeah, that's made by Bowler, but 20CV is made in America, and it's the same thing. 20CV, 204P, M390, they're just the same. So, and how come there's 18 people and only 7 likes? I haven't been doing that very often, but those likes are how we get these videos shared. That's how we grow our community. If we don't do that. I will tell you guys, I do know that Jeff Smith, Cutlery Lover, did a video about the Sea Snake. And he really liked it and did the video. So I don't know if you guys saw that. but already liked it, so suck it. Luke, you must have been, were you Army? Luke, are you Army? Is that what this is? Number 8. So VG10 and N390, N690, I mean, they're all similar. But I mean, all it takes is just a small change and you can have something different. Like, okay, Elliot and I were talking about this. There are things in steels that you would not expect that happen. Like sometimes you're like, okay, there's not, my child is making her breakfast. Eating. Okay.
You must know.
Okay, so anyway, what was I saying? See, that's why I can't keep a train of thought. What were we talking about? Oh, steel. So you can make minor little tweaks to the composition of a steel and come out with something that you weren't expecting. And you can look at spec sheets all day. And just like Elliot and I were talking about, like you can't look at a spec sheet and say, oh, well, that's going to be so much harder to sharpen. Because I'll tell you right now, the difference in composition between N690 and VG10 might be minimal on paper, but after you heat treat it, you come up with something different. And they are similar, but they've got different qualities. So let's look at it this way. So there's things that happen in steel that you would not expect when you do heat treat. So in theory, steel should, when you heat treat something, you should contract. I don't know. Here's the thing. You want those questions, you send Elliot an email. Or you find one of his videos and you make a comment and see if he answers. Because the fact is, I don't get into it that far. I don't know what because you know the truth, I don't care. I do know that 20CB, M39, and 204P are basically the same. I know that there's a lot of it. But at any rate, what I was saying with steels, what happens in heat treat is there's weird things that happen when you heat treat a steel that might be outside of what you expect. So when you heat treat something, like Elliot was saying, you should get uniform contraction of the steel. And I asked him this because every time I've made a knife, after heat treat, I have to bore the holes back out. Even though my hardware fit before heat treat, it never does after. And he goes, yeah, it's weird. If anything, you should have an overall expansion of the steel, which would expand equally across the entire thing, which would make your holes, I'm sorry, so you should have uniform contraction during heat treat. Those elements are coming together and binding in a different crystal structure. So therefore, even contraction would mean that your holes would get bigger, not smaller, bigger, because everything's contracting evenly, so the hole will be bigger. But what you get after heat treat is an expansion of the steel, which is not what should happen, but it's what does. After you heat treat, I have to bore my holes again. Not drill them again, but basically take a reamer and open those holes back up enough. Now that could be an oxide layer, but an oxide layer should not be enough to make it, I mean, you can't even force it through. So you gotta bore them out again. Same things happen with steels. S90V, on paper, should be way harder to sharpen than a lot of other steels. It's really easy to sharpen. It really is. Then it takes and holds an edge forever. Steel is, oh, you guys remember Conan the Barbarian, the original one, the enigma of steel? It's not a joke. There's so many things that happen in it that we still don't understand. So, you know, for me to look at a steel and tell you like, oh, that's going to be great, I can't. I test steel by carrying it and sharpening it and using it. And I don't personally really have any biases against steels. Steel is the last thing that I look at, what I was saying before. The two things that I look at when I look at a purchase, the last two things are, the last two things that I ever look at are steel type and Rockwell hardness. Because guess what? 99% of the time, I'm not gonna care. I'm gonna use the knife. If it gets dull, I'm gonna strop it, or resharpen it, or hone it, and go right back to work because I don't care. You know, very few people, like if I took this knife and I made it in 440, 99% of the people that would buy that knife would never know that that's a different steel. They wouldn't know, but people get their head wrapped around, oh, this is better, this is better, this is better. Sometimes better, sometimes it's not better. Sometimes it's just more expensive. You know why I like the Rhea and the Sea Snake? They don't hold an edge anywhere near as long as this in that AR RPM 9. I'm not gonna lie to you. It does not hold an edge close to what this 20 CV does. But I can strap both of those knives up on a piece of cardboard, get it screaming sharp, right back to razor sharp, and never have to put it on a stone. I very rarely sharpen my, as a matter of fact, I haven't sharpened my Sea Snake, my Artisan Sea Snake, in probably a month and a half, and it gets used all the time. The only reason it's not around my neck right now is because in a hooded sweatshirt, I don't like the way it hangs. So does that make it better or worse? Yes. Does it get dull faster? Yeah, way faster. But does it take as much work? No. That's why, like I said, you know, there's people that chase that Rockwell, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. They want that highest Rockwell. Big Brown Bear does an amazing job of getting some incredible heat treats on steels that are outside of the norm and getting really high Rockwell that still is, you know, it's not brittle. But that's not for everybody. Because I don't think the Norseman is ugly. See, that's that thing. This comes back to another thing. Like everybody thinks that their opinion is the only one in the knife world. Like, oh, everybody likes deep carry pocket clips, or nobody likes knife branding on blades, or the Norseman is ugly. He's made 3,000, at least 3,304 or 3,034 of them, because I have number 30 or 3,034 here. So why is it ugly? Well, obviously it's not ugly to everyone. That's everyone in this new social media world thinks they're important. But guess what? None of us are as important as we have. None of us are important as what we've built up in our head. We aren't. There are way too many people that think they're too important. And they're not. That's this channel. I don't take any of this that I'm an influencer or anything like that. I just enjoy making videos, and I enjoy this. I enjoy opening up this community. It's not that I think I'm important, because I am fucking not. But there's too many people that think they're important and that their opinion is the one that matters. Like, oh, well, only deep carry pocket clips. Well, guess what? I don't like deep carry pocket clips. That's why we have so much, that's why I have so much separation in this country right now. Democrats, Republicans, right and wrong, this and that. Everybody seems to think that there's only one opinion, and if yours is different than theirs, it's wrong. And that's not the way the world works. That's the way the world goes to war. So, there we got that rant out of the way. Now what are we going to talk about? What else are we going to get me on a what else are we going to get me on a tirade about? And I am opinionated. Don't get me wrong. I'm opinionated, but there's a lot of times that if, you know, I'll have an opinion, but if you show me, like, I'll hold that opinion, and I'll say, okay, well, I personally think you're wrong. But if you can show me that I'm wrong, then I'll take it. But I'm not gonna change my opinion just because you said so. Does blade grind? Blade. Spider goes. Has the best grinds changed my mind? Does the grind of the blade take into account the knife steel? It should, but a lot of times they don't. A lot of times, no. So what happens is a lot of times steels will get too thin. Spyderco has a tendency to grind all their knives. The edge bevels are way too thin, and their edges don't hold, and they're inconsistent, and sometimes they burn them. But I mean, that's something that can be adjusted. Edge geometry is a tricky thing, and here's the thing: most modern steels, it's not going to matter. It's really not, unless the heat treat's bad. If the heat treat's bad, then it's going to be screwed all the way around. There's a knife here as an example of that. It doesn't matter what I do to this knife; it will not hold an edge. And this is ZDP 189. This is their flagship, expensive steel, and I'm not at all impressed. I've thought about taking that knife apart and seeing if I can work harden it by doing a tumble. Sometimes that does work. Sometimes that will change. the steel. And there's things, I mean, just steel is a weird animal. You know what I mean? So, what did we get here? What do we got here? Really? What did I apologize for? Oh, this is your content for today. There's not going to be a filmed video going up. I am going to film a couple videos today once the light changes. I'm going to do that. I've got to get that sharpshooter, that buck sharpshooter, marksman, or whatever it was down, and refilm that. And I've got to do the tutorial video, but like I said, I am missing a stone right now, so I can't do any sharpening. But like I said, there's so much going on between my daughter's injury and my wife's back and me. And I had a plumber here at the house yesterday because we had a downstairs toilet that leaked. I've got stucco repair going on. I'm an HOA vice president. I'm still trying to run a business. I was going to go to the shop today and work on handles, but I'm going to be there all day Saturday, so I'm just going to do it then. So buddy Nico and his wife Bridget are coming down. They're going to hang out at the shop. So, and I'm not going to lie, I've just been pretty... what'd you ask a second ago, Luke? No, I did not. I got my mom's Spyderco kitchen knife. I got a Spyderco kitchen knife that was horribly ground all the way too thin and rolled. I would... You guys know that I am adversely opposed to any of you guys buying a Spyderco at this point until they correct their issues. So... But like I said, you know, if you like a steel, you like a steel. I honestly do not like XHP. Montana Knife Company. It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever seen anything. Give me a second, guys. We'll have to be quiet because my wife's sleeping, but I've got to go grab... I want to go grab my sea snake. I wanted to show you guys something. It's selling well, apparently. So if you guys want one in this first run, you probably should get one because from what I understand, they are selling out rapidly. So, you know who does a really good video about knife grinds? I've done one. I don't want to, the whole thing is I don't want to go into a diatribe about it and try and do it on a live feed. I did a video about different knife grinds and edge geometry and stuff like that you could find. But you know who did a really good job of it? Neves. Jared Neves over at Neves Knives did a really good video about edge geometry, knife grinds, different types of knife grinds. He did one here just recently. So I wanted to show you guys this. So before you guys get one of these knives, I will tell you, it does scratch in and out of sheath. Mine gets used a lot. So that's what I want to tell you. Trying to get you started on that. Where are we at here? Somebody was about to... What about Benchmade? I have... Look at this to correct. I don't recommend Benchmade. I don't recommend Spyderco. I mean, they're pricey, but if you want to get Medford, for as much as Greg can be a tool bag, and I like him, but he can be, well, he gets too irate and gets mad at his customers. But at any rate, I'll talk about that in a second there, Ethan. His knives are always great. I've seen some of the new Striders that he's producing for them, that he's doing the CNC. That's Medford knife and tool bag. But he does make incredibly good knives. They're pricey, but the fact is he does an incredibly good job. That's a good American-made company. Bark River Knives, that's another one. I steer clear of Benchmade and Spyderco because they are not what they used to be, but they have that fan base because of what they used to be, and that's where that comes from. Greg's another guy that thinks he's more important than he is. He is a great guy if you catch him in the right mood. There's been a video talking about it. We were at a knife show and there was he's a Marine. There was some Marines that came to his table and they're standing there and they came to, buy a knife from another Marine. I can't remember which knife show this was. I think it was Blade Show West. And I was like, oh, we'll go over and talk to Greg. And as I come up, these guys are standing there and they get ready to ask questions. And he goes, all right, here, it's your questions. Either buy a knife or out. Now, I'm censoring myself because my last couple live feeds have been demonetized, but get the F out, dropping F-bombs. And I was like, Greg, those guys were Marines. They're your customer base. But I'm not gonna lie, he had possibly the most stressful day I've ever seen anyone have at a knife show that day. So, I mean, take it for what it is. Okay, now back to Ethan saying, I use a work sharp Canon and an electric sharpener. You need to throw that thing away. You're basically putting another shitty factory edge on your knife. That's all you're doing. If you're going to, there's no easy way to do it. No matter how you do it, it's always going to be, there's always some gimmick to sharpening. You got your fixtured systems, things like that. I honestly don't like the Wicked Edge. I think the Wicked Edge is one of the worst systems. Can you get a really polished edge? Yeah. Is it sharp? Yeah. But like it's going the exact, unless you always push cut, unless this is the way you always cut, instead of cutting with a draw cut like I do on a work, then your striations are going exactly the wrong way. All these things, everybody's like, oh, if you get this, you can get perfect edges. You know how many people I've seen screw things up on a Wicked Edge, on an Edge Pro, definitely on a Work Sharp. It's just, you're spending a ton of money on something when you could easily spend $80 on a handful of stones that, if you don't sharpen like me, will last you a lifetime. So I could get everything up to 10,000 grit that I need to sharpen with. There's everything I would need to hand sharpen with the way I do it, I could get for $86. I checked it the other day. If I'm only taking shit to like 5,000 grit, $86 if I'm taking everything to 5,000 grit. My personal knives usually stay around 1,000 to 2,000 grit. This knife stays at about 600 grit. So, you're gonna drop all of that money on a system that then still requires a learning curve. You can really, I've seen so many guys get screwed because somebody screwed a knife up on an Edge Pro or a Wicked Edge or that Russian one. Or how do I come to that total? $86? Because I just looked up replacing all of my aluminum oxide Edge Pro stones. That's how I came to that number. It's in my cart on Edge Pro, $86. With shipping. 4 stones, they're $17 or $18 each. With tax and shipping, it's $86. It's in my cart on Edge Pro because I use their 1 inch by 6 inch, 1 inch wide by 6 inch wide stones. Yeah, see? I prefer, I mean, it just depends. Like, I'm not gonna tell you, some people, like, you might get wet stones and hate me for it. Or you might get diamond and hate me for it. 1 inch wide. They're for their fixtured system. 1 inch wide, 6 inches long. But then, I mean, that's if I'm only sharpening stuff. If I had to sharpen this, I would need my 1/2 inch ones. So, but that's why I always tell you guys, like, you want to learn how to sharpen, because I personally, I don't like V edges. I like the fact that I can have a convex edge, even on a recurve, by doing it by hand. If I use a fixtured system, it limits me. I watched Matt take like 30 minutes or 40 minutes to sharpen one kitchen knife I could have done in like 5 minutes. So just buy some cheap knives and practice. Whetstones, oil stones, all that stuff. Neves does more of a controlled freehand sharpening where he keeps the stone on a bench. I put the stone in my hand, which is why I like the 1 inch wide. Which grits do I buy? I buy the 400, the 600. Sorry. I buy the 400, the 600, the his knives are so thin. I buy the 400, the 600, the 1,000, and then I've got a 5,000 in the cart that they have, or a 4,000, the Diamond Matrix 4,000. So that comes out to, no, I'm sorry, I have a 220. That's why I have a 220, a 400, a 600, and a 1,000 that are in my cart. Yeah, it is. There's not many people that there's a lot of people like, I can't do that. It scares me so much when he does it like that, edge flex on steel. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. His knives, Big Brown Bear. I've got to talk to him. Sean and I were talking about him sending me a knife for me to have here to do a video and then send it back. But he sells each one of his knives. I haven't drank any of my coffee yet. No Shave November. For me, it's no trim November. So, guys, like I said, I hope any of you guys that got the actual knife. If you did not get the actual knife, if you got a piece of electronic equipment, allow me to elaborate what happened. Artisan shares a warehouse. So if you've ever watched Demolition Ranch, you know how bunker branding is, where they handle a lot of stuff for multiple companies. That's what the warehouse in Texas that they use is like. It's several different companies that have one warehouse and shipping center. And it's like contracted. And so there's several different companies. What happens was some shipping labels got mixed up, and some of the sea snakes went out to people that had ordered electronics, and some electronics went out to people that ordered sea snakes. If you get that issue, if you were one of the ones, just email Russell it's RUSSELL at artisancutlery.net, and he'll get it taken care of for you. Ethan, if you want to get one of these on the first run, you should probably do it soon. From what I understand, they are selling out quickly. They have done a lot of sales, and that's something. Yeah, it was quickly resolved. So I have not, as much as the sea snake or the stonefish was my baby. That was the first knife I designed for a specific purpose. I honestly like this knife more. I came up with this after I made the stonefish. I was like, well, this isn't something I could ever carry. So mine is to the point where I don't know if you guys will be able to see the bend I put in the tip of it. Yeah, you can see it. I bent the tip on mine. I'm going to have to probably order another one. This was my testing one. I stabbed that into something, and the tip on this, I just wanted to see if it would do it. I absolutely do not recommend stabbing anything with this knife. It is super thin. I stabbed it into something, and I bent the tip, and I straightened it slightly. But, you know, who knows? You're going in the Navy? I was in the Navy. I was retired from the Navy. So, this knife just winds up getting used constantly. Like, I would love to carry a stonefish, but it's limited in places you can use it. Like, you can't pull that knife out in public. Someone will flip out. This, if I'm wearing it around my neck and I pull it out to do, I was in my kid's physical therapy. It's not as large as most flippers, most pocket knives. It's not a very big knife. But it definitely doesn't feel anything. It definitely doesn't lose anything. It definitely doesn't feel small. It definitely feels different. Like, it feels huge in hand. I don't know why. It just feels like, holy crap, that's more knife than I thought it was. But it's still smaller than most of my folding knives. So you can pull this out and no one's going to think anything of it. I was at my daughter's physical therapy. I had to cut I had a fucking rough spot on my fingernail. And so I pull this out and I'm like, just cut my, because it's thin enough, I can cut. So it's 15 thousandths behind the edge, nice and thin. Well, it does have a shape of something we would be used to. So, yeah, I mean, I know we were talking about the Grimstone Norseman, and that's what tore this all off, but some people would say the same thing about this blade shape and design. Because this is very reminiscent of, you guys all see it. So, you know, back to the thing. Everybody has their own opinion, and I wouldn't, far be it for me to decide that someone shouldn't buy something if they like it. I just like to bring, like I said, when I bust on Emerson and Benchmade and Spyderco, it's because they could do better. It's not so much busting on them. I've had their knives before. They were great. And so it's just an opinion that I think you guys should know what you're walking into when you purchase these knives. That's why I do it. So, holy crap, 22 people and 21 likes. We got almost 100%. What was this last one? Might be able to get a few weeks into it. Tips for the Navy. Going into boot camp, shut up and do what you're told. Shut up, do what you're told, life gets easier, and don't use the word can't. Can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. Well, what you can do is, we'll try this, and we'll see. I went through a period that I was always at odds with my supervisors, and I couldn't ever figure it out. Like, I fought with every one of my superiors for like a year. And I mean, I had several different chiefs that I worked for. And I got to looking at it, I was like, you know what? Let me take a good hard look at this. And I was hard-headed, and I had my own way of doing things. And so what I came to was, I got to looking at stuff, and I was like, well, let's take a good hard look at it. And I was like, okay, me and this chief fought. No, he's talking about DEP, the delayed entry program. Or he might have meant MEPS. I don't know. Any rate, so I took a hard look at it. I was like, I fought with this chief. I fought with this chief. I fought with this chief. They're all different people, so they're all variables. You know what the one constant was? Fucking me. I was the problem. And so I just looked at what was going on, and I had gotten to a point where I had some bad relationships with some supervisors, and I immediately just assumed it was always going to be bad, and therefore it just went bad. I was making it go bad by thinking it was going to go bad. So I changed the way I interacted. I stopped, and what it was I kept saying can't. We can't do that. We can't do that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to erase that. I stopped saying can't. I hate hearing my daughter say it. I hate hearing myself say it. I don't like to say can't. I like to say I'm currently unable, but we will work towards it. I like to find ways to work out a problem instead of just saying can't, because can't is a roadblock that will stop your forward path. The second you think it, well, the second you've said it, you've already thought it. So if you're already thinking you can't, then you can't. You won't ever be able to. So what I try to do is I try to not think that. I try to think, well, that didn't work. So it definitely makes your life easier. Well, see, that's the thing. I really don't care about that. What's similar to Master at Arms? What jobs? Don't be a Master at Arms. Don't be a Master at Arms. That rate, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want to. Back in the day, to be a Master at Arms, you had to at least be an E5. It was not a rate that you could pick. You had to cross rate to it. You had to be the top, basically the top of the Navy to become a Master at Arms. And then everybody else supported the Master at Arms as a police force, like sheriffs and deputies. Master at Arms is not like that anymore. The Master at Arms rate is falling apart. It's horrible. So I would recommend not doing Master at Arms. I was a gunner's mate. I did weapons stuff my entire career. I worked on 5-inch gun systems. I also did law enforcement. I was a 95-45. I went to school so that I worked at security for a couple years. But like I said, I did police. I did law enforcement for 2 years. It's just one of those things, like that rate just really isn't what it used to be. So, instantly grow 3 inches down under. No, you won't. A good. We're not going to get into that story. Good tips. Just keep your head down, do what you're told, do your job. And if you don't like what you're doing, just do it. Just do it and get it done because you signed up and do it. Go Navy, beat Army. What's the current streak? Who has won the most games? I haven't watched an Army Navy game in. Let me put it to you this way: the last time I watched an Army Navy game was the first year that Ohio State played Texas. So that would have been Army won last year. I thought they did. So that would have been 2002. 2002, I believe, was the last time I watched an Army Navy game. It choked me out, and it was a SEAL because I thought he was a Marine. We were in Korea, and I was popping the top on Oscars. So if you go to Korea, they have these things called Oscars, and they're just babies. They're tasty. They're little bottles of champagne. They're little bottles of champagne that taste like Flintstone vitamins, Flintstone's chewable vitamins. They're delicious. And I was popping the corks off of them, and I was bouncing them into the middle of the table, and I was hitting these guys with these corks. And this guy got up, and I thought he was a Marine. And he got up, and he takes the cork out of my Oscar, and he puts it on my table. He's like, I'll do it again. And as he walked away, I grabbed my buddies, and I popped the cork, and I bounced it off the back of my head. And then he actively was showing me that he could kill me at will. I fought with Marines. I'd never gotten in a fight with a SEAL. It's not a fight that I would like to revisit because he taught me that he had me in a chokehold. He had my left elbow screwed in my right ear and was choking me, and I was dying. And he whispered in my ear that I should probably pick my battles better before he let me go. But he's the one that taught me that air is a lot like pussy. It doesn't matter till you're not getting any. You never think about it. Never once until you're not getting any of it. I was thinking about air a lot. So at any rate, yeah, don't do the stupid crap that I did. So no, stuff that's coming up, I really am out of review stuff. To tell you guys the truth, that's another reason that there's a lack of content. I have one more knife I'm going to film in there, two more knives in there that I got to film, and then there's nothing. So we're gonna have a glut, or I'm sorry, we're gonna have a not a glut. We're gonna have the opposite of that, a dry spell of content, because what I've done is I've spent the last few months that I'm not working, just doing videos, and so I've got one here somewhere. What do I think? Do you know what everyone can use is a freaking Leatherman? A good Leatherman. It's got everything you need. So sharpening videos, I don't have anything here for sharpening. So I've tried, here's the thing, guys. I tried to do Netflix party, and we use, me and my friends use an app called 27, which I loved being on a ship. If they asked me if I wanted to go live on a ship right now, I would. If like they were like, hey guys, you want to stop paying your mortgage and move back on a ship? Like you can bring your family. They can live, like each of you, like they could coordinate out. Like I would do that in a freaking heartbeat. I loved living on a ship. I loved it. I had an apartment, but never slept as good as I did. Never have since slept as good as I did on a ship. Ever. I would go, when I was single, I would go back to the ship and sleep sometimes just because I couldn't sleep because the house didn't rock. I would get up, I would go home after I get married. I would go home and I would spend the night, and I would get up super early, and I would either go in and work a little bit early so that I had free time for me to do some stuff, or I would go get in my rack and go to sleep until reveille. I would get there at like 4. I would sleep until right before quarters. So like I slept so well. It's the sea just, she rocks you to sleep, man. And it's something that I miss horribly. I wish that I could put my bed on gimbals. I've had so many apartments. So, guys, talking about that, guys, I haven't had beer in this house for 3 weeks. None. Don't get me wrong, I've had beer. I'll drink a few beers at the shop with Elliot if there's beer there, but I haven't bought. Ooh, I farted. Wait. There you go. I have not purchased beer in, yeah, geez, it's been almost 3 weeks. So, dry mic is weird mic. No, well, part of it was I couldn't, after the surgery, I couldn't drink, and I made a YouTube between. Such a good idea. Navy actually won last year. Army won 2018. I know it's been back and forth for a while. So what's everybody else got? What's going on? Who all here got a sea snake? I'm just curious how everybody likes them. Those guys that got them. I know there's a lot of you guys that did get them, and you sent me texts and messages and things saying you did like them. I had a couple people say, like, I can't buy it because there's not 2 holes at the top. Like, because, okay. So one of the things that Cutlery Lover pointed out in his videos, there's only 1 hole, so this thing will rotate back and forth. And I was like, you know, I don't see that as a problem. I don't get, I just don't get that that's such an issue. One guy was like, I can't buy one unless they're going to modify the sheath and put a second hole. Well, I don't want to change the shape of this sheath, so I guess that guy's just not going to buy one. The adding an extra hole here would make this squarer at the top. I don't like that. I don't want that any bigger. That is just perfect. That is a perfect sheath. Mine is set up so that I can either carry it neck, I'll just take the chain off and the loops are already on it. I don't even care that that adds, that doesn't, these are not that heavy. So I don't see it as a problem. Some people do, but you know, everyone has an opinion. But I noticed that like no one said anything about it until Cutlery Lover said something about it. But he's got, you know, 500,000 subscribers. People will jump on what he says. I've pocket carried this. This actually this sits nicely in the little kangaroo pouch in a this fits really nice in the kangaroo pouch of a hooded sweatshirt. And then you just reach in and you got your knife and you pull the sheath out. There's a lot of guys that just pocket carry, have talked about pocket carrying it in a hip pocket or a front pocket. I love scout carry. That's all of my knives have been designed to be specifically set up so that you can do scout carry. Oh crap, that reminds me. What do you think the chances are that you have some random kid somewhere overseas? Oh, pretty high. I would guarantee there's a lot of little Asian, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Asian kids. I would just say, just be careful, like, depending on what kind of hard juice you're talking about. There's a good chance that, like, as thin as this is, you could cause some irreparable damage, but it's a $54 knife. So, actually, you know what? Here's the thing. How do I say this? Everybody wants to make a hard use folder. But the fact is, if you want hard use, I'll show you what here. Well, not to interrupt my daughter's morning YouTube and stretching. She's doing her physical therapy stretches. I can't tell you guys how many times I've said this, but I've got this box of stuff here. If you want a hard use knife, And I'm not saying mine. I'm not definitely saying mine. If you want a hard use knife, it's got to be a fixed blade. That's what they're for. That's what fixed blades are for. And I know we're at an hour, but like I said, I have no other content today. So that's a hard use knife. This puppy is not going, look at the thickness that I make these out of. So this is one of my customs. This is Alex's knife. I'm going to get Alex's knife shipped out. I just have to get his package that's upstairs dug out because he sent me a package full of knives and I'm sending everything back at once. So this is one of my customs, but that's how it's supposed to be. Guys, this one is still for sale, guys. I'm not lying. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be here forever. There's a good chance this is going to go up to a place called Quinn Knives and go on consignment. I may take it up there today. Would I stab with it? Yeah. I'm telling you, in the Navy right now, as a junior guy in the Navy, your shit's going to disappear. It's going to get stolen. Somebody's going to borrow it. Don't buy anything really expensive unless you're ready to lose it. So yeah, this definitely will. So this one's going to go up to, I'm pretty sure it's going to go up on consignment unless one of you guys grabs this. This one is I have 2 of these that I've got made with wood handles. They're going to be $8.50 each. Gerber's not a bad option, actually, Ethan. Here is this is for sale as well. One of my Viper neck knives. If any of you guys are interested in that. This one is already, there we go. The sheath on this is a little bit challenging, but it has a belt loop. I'm not happy with how tight the belt loop is. I don't think you're going to be able to get a belt through it, but hey, it's there. But this is one of my little Viper neck knives, and it's done in black. So for this, these are $150. A hollow back? No, because I don't have a hollow grind wheel. It would be really challenging for me to try and do a hollow. I did a hollow grind one time, but what I did was I used the top wheels of a Platen, and it did not do the greatest of jobs. It was a very, very, very weird hollow. But these are $150 shipped. I have this one that's done and ready to go. I have some more stuff that has to go out for sheath. I have a couple more of those that are done. I need to do a video showing you guys what I have. Don't ask me why I have things. I'll find things that make me good. But no, these little neck knives are a great little thing. Kiradashi style. And I like the sheaths with the one little red grommet. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to sharpen this and take it to Quinn Knives. Nobody's bid on this. What, 150? Yeah, then you can't think about this. This is 850. But they're handmade. So this one was a custom order. That's a beefy girl right there. She's not some dainty. She's not a dainty little girl. She's a harbor chick. Remember me telling you I got a mini dash from MCC? Oh, no, I do not. But how do you like it? Nick does good work. Nick Chirpin, he does really good work. So, well, we're at an hour. Do you guys want to? There's 25 of us. I'll stick around for a little bit longer if you guys want to. You don't like it at all? Send it to me for a video, Luke, and I'll send it. When I send it back, I'll send you your bead. Did you guys see? Okay, so last Friday, do you get a knife from knife? What? Wait, what? Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. So you get, like I said, there's 22 of us here. Do you guys want to stick around for a little bit longer? So I'll do that. There's 30 likes. Everybody like it. If I see the likes go up, that means that we'll stick around. New people? Has anybody not liked it yet? Okay, likes are going up, so people want to stick around. All right, so what do you want to talk about now then? Because we've been doing this for an hour and 5 minutes. No, I don't know anymore. Used to. I got a knife when I joined the Navy. It depends on where you're going. I have several knives that were issued to me. I've got a couple K-bars. I've got an SRK, cold steel SRK. But I deployed to the Persian Gulf a lot, and I was boots on ground. I was a sailor. I was a fleet of one. I was a dirt sailor for a lot of years. So, I mean, it just depends. It depends on where you're going, what you're going to do. On a ship, most guys on a ship, they don't need a knife as an integral part of their day-to-day. So, what was that? What did... Small and weird. You are a small, weird guy. So I mean, you'll get, if depending on where you go, you'll get issued a knife. Like, but, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, do you need a knife for your day-to-day work? Probably not. A lot of times what you wind up getting, if I remember, I always had Leatherman. We bought Leathermans for the guys. Like they bought them for the department, and everybody got one. But you got like one. Just saying. Dylan Mallory is actually smaller than Nico. Nico is almost an inch taller than Dylan Mallory, and I was like, I want to put those two little Oompa Loompas in a ring. Poke him with a stick. Fight, you little motherfucker. Fight! Okay, I dropped an F-bomb. That was the only one. I can only drop one. My last live feed got demonetized because I was dropping F-bombs from here to Christmas. You can get away with a couple, just not many. So I'm not even going to try and contest that. So I have another giveaway item. That we are going to give away to you guys. I'll give you a sneak peek of next month's. I have a laser bore sight. I'm not sure how many people are going to want that. I have a laser bore sight that I'm going to give away next month as the Prime Channel giveaway. I'm not doing a members only giveaway this month. They got a very pricey item last month, if you remember correctly. I'm still waiting on Dwayne to send me his address because he won the bore sight. I don't know. I had that runner's grappler's body. I don't know though. Nico, like, I don't know. Like Nico's, like when you shake hands with Nico, you're like, that dude's hands are burly. Like he's not weak. He's a very, very strong little guy. So what was that? I don't know. I don't even get into giveaways because I know I won't win. Well, here's the thing. I've had several people say that. And I gave away a knife on Instagram. I did an Instagram, the Crag. I did that giveaway on Instagram. And the guy that won, he's like, I have never won anything in my life. I was like, well, see? It's weird. On my channel, people that don't win usually do. This is true. This is true. Like, even when I shake hands with Nico, I was like, that dude's got some beefy hands. And I wear XXL gloves. And people say, there's no way you wear XXL gloves. They had to order. Let me see. Are these the XXXs? Do I have the XXXs in my hard hat out here? No, these are the XXXs. And the problem I have, even with the double XLs, are I blow the fingertips out of them. They're too short. I have large hands. Double XL gloves are tight. Like they're not long enough, and when I put them on, I have a tendency to just blow the fingers out because they're so tight on my fingertips. I think the XXLs are still in the trunk. Well, I haven't done one in a while, and like I said, this is the only content today. I have a bunch of errands I have to run today. I have to get a coffee pot. I have to get a sink. That's the other thing. I've got a lot of stuff going on at the house. I have to replace the downstairs sink. Both of the downstairs in counter sinks, but I've got to figure out which ones they are. I have to go find a recycling center that's open because my entire backyard is filled with bags of cans and water bottles and milk jugs. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's precluding it. And like I said, I don't have much in the way of content. So if you guys have stuff, I'm always willing to bring stuff in. I mean, at this point, I'm willing to pay shipping if it's not like a huge big box of stuff. I mean, if you've got a bunch of stuff. So like I said, my email is always in the description. So if you guys want to reach out to me and say, hey, I've got this knife, if you want to do a review on it, I'll just let you know. I mean, if it's something I've already done, probably not, but there's a lot of stuff that has come out recently. Nope. I'm not an Xbox guy. You got to find a way to engineer one of those cold brew machines to keep the wife happy. She didn't like the cold brew coffee as much as I thought she would. We made that batch of cold brew coffee at at Matt's house because she had said, well, that's kind of a cool idea and wanted to try it. You don't get as much coffee flavor in the cold brew. And she likes the strong kind of bitterish coffee flavor. So I don't think we're gonna be getting that, but I do have to get a coffee pot because this one, I'm really disappointed in this one. The first one we had, really nice coffee pot. I paid like $60 for it. And they stopped making that one and it lasted forever. And this is the second coffee pot I have went through since that one went bad. And they're basically the same model. Oh, ooh. Well, here's the thing, Ethan, if it's a model that I haven't seen, because every once in a while there's that little gem that is in the budget realm. I do a lot of budget knives. I carry a lot of budget knives these days. The CJRB stuff right now, and it has nothing to do with that Artisan is producing my knife. It just happens that after they started producing my knife, I got to see more of their stuff. They are making some really good knives. But the thing is, like a lot of people say, their quality control, and I do have to admit this, their quality control can lack sometimes. And there are ones that go out that are lemons. But like I said, the fact is, we're not talking about a $300 or $400 knife. We're talking about a $30 knife. So the budget knives these days are also coming along to where budget knives are reaching a point where the high-end production knives used to be. And then higher-end production knives are surpassing custom knives. I'm not gonna lie to you. I grind everything by hand. I do freehand grinds. I'm really proud at how consistent I get plunges and things like that freehand and eyeballing it without a jig and how straight the knives are. But I'm never gonna be able to compare one of these knives. Now they have flourishes and things like that. Like you're never gonna get one of my production stonefish with a really cool Tasmanian blackwood handle, but their quality control is way better than me grinding it by hand. There's little hiccups and everything, little inconsistencies in these knives that are not in the production versions. And so, like, the production versions of my stonefish, I honestly think they're better. In some ways, they're better in some ways than my custom ones. And that's why, that was the whole point of doing a production version, was to have a design. Instead of making them one at a time, let's make some designs that are easily accessible and readily accessible. Like this. If we make you a custom one of these, it's right around 800 bucks. This is $54. Now the custom ones are made out of 20 CV, or I'm sorry, S125V. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's an incredible steel, but it's also a nightmare to grind, a nightmare to sharpen, a nightmare to work with. It comes annealed before heat treat. It's 55. I could make a knife out of S125V, and most people, even if I didn't heat treat it, would never know that a lot of people, unless they knew exactly what S125V was supposed to be. So, it's just, it's that thing. Like, I like making custom knives. I like making knives. It doesn't pay for itself. I mean, it pays for itself. That's about it. My dad keeps yelling at me, don't spend over $80. The thing is, right now, you can get an $80 knife that is as good. Right now, you can get an $80 knife that's as good as some of the, well, let's put it this way. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can get a $50 knife that's better than this $180 knife. It really is. I can't tell you. As much as I like Spyderco's Endura series, I've always had one. There has very rarely been a time where this was not a knife that I had in my collection. They just are not producing the quality that I would expect for the price point. They're not. And some of these budget, that artisan Rhea that I'm giving away, leaps and bounds better than this. I don't like I steer clear. I do not like Spyderco these days. I don't like Benchmade these days. And those are companies I used to. Maybe we should just end on that one. We used to. We used to, but then we started doing it again. So now we don't used to. We started. Poor PDM possessed my mouth for a little bit. He fucking took over. He's like, hey, we used to, but we don't used to anymore because we do it now. We used to, but now that we started, so that's why we used to. But since we started, we used to, but we started again, so we used to. Jesus, you hillbilly. There's some people that will make sense to, and that should scare you. Serious Mike has got to come up. Yeah, okay, so when my daughter does something bad, well, I haven't had to do it for a while, so I don't know if it'll work. But if I Lincoln Hawk it, she knows I'm being serious. Mitch Hedberg. I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to as well. Yeah, that was the Mitch Hedberg, or Hedberg, however you pronounce it. So the hat on backwards, yeah, that's Serious Mike. And my daughter used to know it. When I would get up, lean in, she's like, oh. He Lincoln Hawked it on me. I need a haircut so bad. You see that? I need a haircut so bad, and I'm not supposed to go. The doctor's like, you've got to stay sequestered. It's getting old. That's some craziness going on in my life. Is I'm just bored because I'm stuck at home. But yeah, like I said, there's so much going on. So videos are going to be fewer far between. The Kaiser Vanguard Justice is my best knife in my collection. I think do you guys want to see what I did? Let me go get it. I'll get my knife case. I didn't lose my leg in Vietnam. Hang on a second. Let me go get it. It's in here. There's a couple things in here. I'll just grab them. Go lay down. So you guys know I like the QSP Penguin, but I was starting to notice, like when you have a D2 knife, you're always going to wind up getting some oxidation, and then it's just rust. Is this the porn light room? No, that's brown chicken, brown cow. You're always going to get oxidation, and oxidation eventually turns into rust and pitting, and I like this knife. So I took my QSP Penguin and I ceramic coated the blade. I have not resharpened it yet. This is a great little knife, guys. So there's a good chance that I am gonna do a video sharpening this. And I mean, the ceramic coating on this is so thin that it does not interfere with the mechanism. So I didn't have time to do everything. I'm gonna do everything on it black. So I'm gonna do all the hardware and everything black, and it's just gonna be a blacked out Penguin, QSP Penguin. And it has nothing to do with the way it looks. It absolutely is a rust prevention thing. The hardware then would be a look, now that the blade's got. Yes, I have. Remember I went to Portland, and that was the first I'd seen, last year was the first time I'd seen QSP knives. So I do have a couple knives that I'm gonna do some revisiting on that I haven't done yet. This is going to be one of them. So, I mean, I do have some content coming up, but this is what I was going to get. So everybody, so you were talking about the best knife in your collection. This, I think, is the best knife in my collection. I think of all my knives, this is my favorite. Not just because it was a gift, but because this is an incredibly good workhorse knife. If you look, it gets used a lot. You can see there's a lot of wear on that ceramic coating on the blade. It's probably not going to get redone this time. I'm just going to let it wear, but you can see where I've worn the ceramic coating. This knife gets used all the time. This knife is normally in my pocket. Yeah, my Master Blaster, and I mean, people are like, I can't believe you used that knife. I was like, dude, you can't. This knife is meant to be beat upon. So this knife gets beat on. And the nice thing about it is I know that I'm going to be able to refinish it if I need to, things like that. It actually, I'm gonna see if I can show you guys. There is a circular scratch here. I had something get down inside the scales. I had a rock or something get down. So there's a scratch running because there was something inside on the lock scale side. Or I mean on the show scale side that scratched a groove in it. I had to resharpen this here not too long ago because I was cutting through a box and I hit a staple I didn't know was in there. It cut right through one of those copper staples that's in a box. Just cut right through it. Now it screwed the edge up like right up here. So I'm not a fan of the EDCI. It does work, but it's a spray on wipe off, and I don't really like it as much as I just would prefer just to put a little bit of nano oil on the blade or Pivot Lube KPL. They do a really good job inhibiting rust. What you getting ready to do, kiddo? What you doing, Isabel? What you doing?
Trying to get the cord out.
Are you gonna ride the bike?
Yeah, because Mama was like, you need to ride the bike.
She's gonna ride the exercise bike. So yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I will give you guys another 15 minutes. Then I have to take the dog for a walk, or she's gonna wind up pooping in the living room. So my daughter's getting ready to ride the exercise bike. So, yeah, this just to sharpen. I did a sharpening and work sharp canyon. For my carbon steel knives, I just want something that works. I have not found a knife that fits my day-to-day need for folding knife better than this. This is a close second, but there's things that I can't do with this just because, like I said, this is a very fine tip knife. Like day-to-day, if I was just gonna cut this box down or something like that, no problem. But for day-to-day hard use, I'd say this is the knife that gets the most hard use out of any knife in my case. And it is a unique, there is no other knife that looks exactly like this. There's a couple that follow this same theme, but mine was the first. So my friend Dwayne Smotherman has one, and there's a third one somewhere. So all of my knives get used. Do you know of a way to get a sea snake pocket clip, like a pocket clip on your pocket? I will tell you, and I'm going to try and talk to him. I will see. There's a guy named Jacob Ginsburg, I think. He's out here. He's in Mira Mesa. He's not far from here. I'm probably going to do a video. He will make a sheath that has kind of a pocket clip on it. I've seen some of his stuff. So find Jacob Creates on Instagram and see if maybe he would make a sheath for you. He does pretty good sheaths. He might be able to make a sheath for the sea snake that has a pocket clip on it. I mean, you could probably talk to Crush City Customs and stuff like that. But the fact is, when you really think about it, here's the problem with this. You're probably going to pay more for the sheath and pocket clip than you are for the knife itself. I mean, you might be able to find a screw-on pocket clip somewhere. I mean, if you're looking at soft loops and things like that, you could also look for clips. Tech locks and things like that should fit those grommet holes on that So, you know, there's options. But I think that if you were to try and get a sheath made, mine's acquired a little bit of a jiggle, but then again, I have tested this vigorously. So, and I left it in a car one day on a hot day, and I felt that the sheath loosened up on me a little bit because I left that Kydex sheath in the heat, and I think that it lost a little. At any rate, like to get a sheath made, it'd probably cost more. There probably are some screw-on things along the lines of like a tech lock that you should be able to get. That would be like a belt clip or a pocket clip. I've seen the ones where it goes on and then it's got a clip that you could use as a pocket clip. So they're $54. You're gonna have a hard time using a sea snake in the Navy, though. You're not. Most of the time, they frown on carrying a fixed blade on a ship. So I mean, you can look for tech locks. Go to Brownells. Brownells usually has got most of. That's where I buy magazines and stuff for my guns. They usually have a good selection of outdoor stuff. And I mean, if you got a Bass Pro Shops, you can go see the stuff in person, take it in, and take a look and see if they fit. So, you know. That's one of those things, you know. What's everybody? We're losing people. It's like down to 17, so we may end before the 15-minute mark. But what's everybody else got? Before we leave, we got like 15 minutes. I'm gonna give you guys about another 12 minutes before I have to go. So what's everybody else got? Anybody else got any questions? Or have a comment? Or I have a series I think is getting the CKRT minimalist. The little necker. I didn't like them. The big problem, you know why I made this? And I knew I wanted a smaller knife that could be neck worn and things like that. Most of the smaller knives like this are really, really thick. Neck knives are always really, really thick. And I didn't like it because, it kind of defeats the purpose. If I'm wearing a small knife around my neck, it's not a hard use. That's not a hard use proposition. That's a quick, easy use kind of proposition. And so I never liked neck knives per se because they were always really thick. And then they're small, so they're ground, and when you try to cut with them, they don't cut well. And you guys that have these, you know that these cut, like, they scream through stuff. Like it's just effortless. And that's pretty thick corrugated, and that just, there's just no effort to that at all. I was just two fingering it, you know? So that's, it's kind of the direction I wanted to go with this, was I wanted it thin. The first couple I ground wound up getting ground thick, and I wasn't happy with them. What grind does it have? It's just a full flat grind. It's just a full flat grind down to 15 thou. Super thin. It's not thick at all behind the edge. Really thin taper all the way down. You can see that the bevels on it are really, really thin because it's not a very thick knife. My edge bevels are really thin on this. It's all, you know what? It's really hard to even get a convex on these because they're so thin that there's, if you thin them out any thinner, if I make it any thinner so that the bevel's wide so I can get a really good convex on it, then it's too thin. These ones I definitely recommend just a V grind on, which is out of character. There's a little bit, just because of the way I do it, there's a little bit of a convex to it, but not like on, say, this. This has an extreme convex edge on it. I don't know how well you're going to see it, but it's definitely a convex edge. I wouldn't recommend it. This is so thin that I'm afraid that something like this on that work sharp would be just too much. Yeah, I would say stick it on a whetstone, and it doesn't take much. This knife right here, this steel, I should say, it's peculiar. It does really, really good right at 600 grit, and you can see that's a fairly polished edge. Let me see if I can get a good... That took a fine polish, which, I mean, in the big scope of things, for me, it doesn't matter whether polished edge or not. And people argue like, oh, polished edges are garbage. Jim Skelton said the same thing till he felt one of my edges, and then I did some cutting with it, and he was like, okay, that's not what I was expecting. But it does really good around 600. 800 grit, and then stropping it on just plain newspaper. Wrapping plain newspaper around a wood block seems to be like the best way to strop this. I don't know, you know, like I was saying, weird things in steels. This is basically somewhere between a Q-TO and 9CR 18 MOV, but it's powdered. So that changes the way it interacts. And then it's got some cobalt in it, which Elliot was like, you know, there's really not enough cobalt in there on paper. You would think that it doesn't have an effect, but it definitely does. I don't measure my angles. I just find the angle the knife wants to be sharpened at. And it sounds weird to say that, but like I will put a knife on a stone and like, nope, that's it. That's the angle it wants. And it's just because I've sharpened to thousands. I don't even think about it. I just kind of let the knife sit on the stone and I get it. I'm like, yep, that's the angle right there. That's it. That's how thin it needs to be. Every once in a while I'll correct it a little bit. I'm like, you know, that feels a little thick. Let me take a little bit of material behind it and I'll just bring that all in and thin the entire edge down. So I don't know what angle I sharpen things at because it's all done freehand. And a lot of times, Ethan, you haven't watched this channel very much, I don't think. There's a lot of times if you see me doing a sharpening video, I'm doing this. Like I'm talking to you guys and I'm looking at the camera. So guess an angle for the sea snake? I really don't know. 15 should be good. Like 15 per side, like a 30 inclusive? Or wait, what am I thinking? Yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine. So that'd be like 7 degrees per side, like a 15 degree inclusive. Yeah, 15 degrees is 15 degrees per side gives you a 30 inclusive. If you do 7 per side, that's a 15 inclusive, and that's too shallow, in my opinion. So let's see. 5 minutes. What else are we gonna talk about? It's been an hour and a half, guys. I haven't done an hour and a half live feed in a long time. Yeah, 30 inclusive would be not too bad. You could go a little thinner, I suppose. And here's the thing, with the knife being as thin as it is, even if you have a steeper angle, like, you know, I don't think it would really affect because there's not much material behind the end of that bevel for it to bind up on. So this actually needs touched up. I probably cut down 4 pounds of cardboard the other day just because we're locked down. Store hours are weird. You can't get stuff from stores. So I've been ordering stuff. So, you know, getting stuff delivered. Use an angle guide. Guys, I cannot tell you how much I recommend this knife. This knife gets a lot of pocket time these days. I think it's getting as much pocket time as this one. So, tell Mama not yet. So, hang on a second. Tell Yuka, princess, not yet. I'm going as soon as I finish this live feed. My wife asked me.
Okay, I'll send this.
So handy. Comes in so handy. She said, okay. Right now, yes, the Sea Snake is only available, but since it's only available there, you can use the coupon code that I have for you, which saves you 5%, which is Artisan021, no spaces. Artisan021, and that saves you 5% per knife. 5% per Sea Snake. It doesn't work on any other knives. It only works on the Artisan Sea Snake. So there you go. That saves you 5%. So you can look at it as that it's a $50 knife instead of a $54 knife, or you can look at, hey, basically I got free shipping. So yeah, the Artisan Mastiff, really like this. I do believe I'm gonna take this to the shop on Saturday and see about doing, I like the way the black one looked. So I'm gonna do the scales and everything black. I don't think I'm gonna change the blade. I would like to not have the big logo so much. Not that I care about the logo shape or design. I just would like a smaller logo on it. I don't care so much. I just think that, I think it would look better if I just did everything black, but I don't think I want to go to that trouble. Does that make sense? But there's something cool I could do. I could do the whole blade black and then resatin all this. But the flip side of it, I have said it a bunch of times, until this gets like really bad, I love the burger grinder satin. I really, really do. So I could probably do a reverse and just cover everything and mask everything and then only do this part black and then leave this. Artisan 021. Artisan 021. That is the coupon code. So 96-minute live feed. Yeah, Artisan 021. So yeah. It's just been busy and hectic, and this was easier. Just even doing an hour and a half live feed is going to be less time consuming than shooting an actual video. I can do this and just, it's fire and forget. So we may do this a little more often until I get more content in, just do more long live feeds. Some of you guys like the long live feeds, some of you guys don't, but we'll just have to take a look at it. Love the longer feeds. See, a lot of you guys do, and there's 20 people here. So that tells me that this is, I haven't done a long live feed in a while. It's a time constraint. I just haven't had time. But we'll try to do some more. And I appreciate everybody telling me Happy Veterans Day. Thank you very much. For all my Marine friends out there, if I didn't send you a text, the 10th was a Marine Corps birthday. Happy birthday, Jarheads. For all you guys that are watching this, my Marine friends, I miss you guys so much. I wish I was still active duty. I wish I was still on the, I have a lot of Marine friends that follow the channel. And they deployed with me on ships, and I've been downrange with them. And as much as there's a rivalry and the joking between Army and Navy and Marines, I love all my Jarhead friends, and I love my Army buddies. They bring a different perspective to your life when you know, when you hang out with guys that eat crayons. It brings a new perspective to your life. So the seal on my knife case is bad, which I find that disappointing because this is supposed to be a waterproof case. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna sign off of here. 98-minute live feed. Since we haven't done that in a while, we may do this more often because, like I said, I don't have a lot of content I can do, so I'm running out of stuff. So like I said, send me stuff. As long as I'm not getting a ton of stuff from everybody all at once, I have no problem paying some return shipping if it's content stuff. So yeah, guys, don't forget to go enter. I did the giveaway video. Go follow my channel if you guys don't already follow it. If you guys aren't members, you might want to think about it because I do specific stuff for the members. They get free stuff. They have early access to all my videos and the tutorial series, which I may try to shoot part of tonight. I may have to do it tonight because of lighting. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see what the lighting looks like. I may do that when I have better light where I can get in and zoom in and there's light above and I can use my ring light. Because right now, the way the sun is, it's too much. It's too bright. It's way too bright. So, all right, guys. I love you guys. Let's give it another 20 seconds and we'll just do a straight 100-minute live feed. Last 30 seconds, guys, if you haven't already liked the video, please do so. There's an applause button on all my videos. There is the join button. We do have super chats. Some of you guys have been, a couple of you guys gave me like 10 bucks. I think Neves gave me 10 bucks the other day in a live feed. So I do appreciate all that. But like, if you guys watch my old videos, you'll see there's an applause button. That's a beta test right now. So if you guys want to donate directly to the channel and Google doesn't get any of that, that's the way to do it. and you can pick how much you want to do. So if you like the videos, you give them a thumbs up. If you really like the videos, you hit the applause button and send some money to the channel. So that's 100 minutes. Guys, take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.